In the biggest companies out there today, change is literally the only constant. But successful transformation, that's actually pretty rare. So what's the difference? Well, a lot of the time it comes down to one critical role, the safe practice consultant. Today, we're going to break down exactly who they are and why they are so important. Okay, let's jump right in.
You hear that quote, and you probably think of startups in a garage, right? But here's the thing, it perfectly captures the spirit you need to change a massive, complex organization from the inside out. To really transform every single company needs its own crazy ones. You need those internal champions who can see a totally different future and, crucially, have the skills to get everyone else there.
And yeah, that really brings us to the billion-dollar question for so many businesses today. It just feels impossible, doesn't it? How are you supposed to steer this giant ship when the currents of the market are shifting under you every single second? Well, believe it or not, there is an answer, and it involves a very specific kind of guide.
Okay, so to get to that answer, here's the path we're going to take. We'll kick things off by meeting our transformation guide. Then we'll get inside their head to understand their mindset and explore their core missions. After that, we'll look at how you actually build a team of these guides, and we'll wrap up by asking if you're ready to lead the charge.
So who is this guide? This person, or maybe more accurately, this type of person who can actually navigate a company through all the choppy waters of change. Let's meet them. All right, here they are, the Safe Practice Consultant, or SPC for short. Now, SAFE stands for the Scaled Agile Framework, which is basically a system designed to help huge companies act more like those nimble startups we were talking about. And the SPC, they're the person who makes it all happen. But look at the key words here. They're not just tech experts, they're change agents. They don't just know the playbook, they have this deep internal motivation to make the business run better. You can think of them as both the engine and the steering wheel for the entire transformation.
But here's the thing. Before an SPC can even think about changing an organization, they have to live and breathe a very specific way of thinking. I mean, you can't lead a revolution if you don't believe in the cause, right? Their real power comes from their mindset.
The best way to think about this is like their core operating system. This is not about memorizing a bunch of buzzwords. It's about truly embodying a lean, agile mindset, this idea of always improving. It's about demonstrating core values like transparency and alignment in everything they do. And it's about using SAFE's principles to guide every single conversation. This isn't just a list on a slide. It's the foundation of their credibility. It's why people, from the CEO down to the newest developer, will actually listen to them.
Okay, so once they have that mindset locked in as their foundation, the SPC gets to work on 4 absolutely critical missions. This is where the philosophy turns into practice. This is where the rubber meets the road.
And these 4 missions, they really tell a story. There's a logical flow here. It all starts with leading the change. You got to build the vision, create that sense of urgency. Then comes the hands-on work of implementing SAFE. From there, they shift into coaching flow, making sure value gets to customers smoothly and without interruption. And all of this builds up to the ultimate goal, accelerating business agility for the entire company.
Now let's zoom in on that second mission, implementing SAFE. This is not some random checklist. An SPC guides the company through a very clear, proven path. First, they train the leadership, because if the people at the top aren't on board, it's never going to work. Then they help the whole organization restructure itself, not around old-school departments, but around how value is actually delivered to the customer. This leads to launching what are called agile release trains, think of them as teams of teams, and eventually improving how the entire company manages its portfolio. And check this out, because this is a huge part of their third mission, coaching flow. An SPC's job is to help everyone in the organization make this fundamental shift in thinking. It's about moving away from temporary projects and focusing on products that live and evolve. It's about changing the definition of success from just being on time and on budget to delivering real, measurable customer outcomes. I mean, this is a massive mental leap, and the SPC is the coach who helps everyone make it across.
So how do they actually do that? Well, they've got a whole toolkit. They run workshops for value stream mapping, which is a fancy way of saying they get everyone to visualize a process from start to finish to find all the bottlenecks. They set up connected Kanban systems. You can think of these like visual dashboards that make all the work and all the delays impossible to ignore. And most importantly, they use hard data to measure everything, proving what's working and what isn't. It's all about making the delivery of value visible, measurable, and just relentless.
Now, as you're hearing all this, you might be thinking, wow, this sounds like a job for a superhero. And honestly, you're not wrong. No one person can possibly do all of this alone. So that leads to a really practical question. How do you build the team you actually need for this journey?
It comes down to this number, 5. But 5 what? And why 5? What's so special about that number?
Well, the general rule of thumb is this. You want 5 or more SBCs for every 100 people who are involved in this new way of working. Why so many? Because transformation is not a one-person show. You need a whole coalition of leaders. You're going to need some coaches who are great at talking to executives, others who can get in the trenches and work with the teams, and maybe some who are deep experts in technology or the business side. It takes a diverse team of these change agents to create, and this is the key part, to sustain real, lasting change.
Okay, so let's bring this all together. We've met our guide, we've gotten into their mindset, and we've seen their missions in action. And that really brings the focus right back to you and to your organization.
At the end of the day, it really boils down to this. A vision for change is just a dream without someone there to make it real. SPCs are the people who bridge that gap. They are the certified guides who connect that high-level vision to the day-to-day reality of how people actually get their work done. They're the translators, the coaches, the leaders. They're the ones who make transformation happen.
So I'll leave you with this one final question. As you look around your own company, your own world, who are the people with that spark? Who has that internal drive to just make things better? Because whether they have a certification or not, those are the people who are crazy enough to change your world. And as we've seen, they're the only ones who ever do.